welcome to the live stream, everybody. Time to do a bit of arena. Also, for anyone who does decide to join us during the live stream, if you're interested, we are available to do some incursions as well tonight. So, definitely want to make sure that we're available to anybody in the community that wants to do so. But until anybody's interested, first off, I'm going to go ahead and make my moves in Alliance Quest real quick, because we might as well get those out of the way so that we have plenty of energy to finish this out tonight, because I have some more recording to do on getting us to Thronebreaker. For those who have been waiting on that series, 6.2.2 came out on Thursday, and I'm going to have 6.2.3 and 6.2.4 out this week as well. And then we will be pushing pretty hardcore for the rest of the month on getting that Thronebreaker title. We have done pretty well on it already. Although, if we continue to play like this, it ain't going to go well if we're trying to work on that Thronebreaker title. It's a little bit different to mess up here, but, definitely don't want to be struggling like that when we're pushing on the Thronebreaker. So, but like I said, we're just gonna get a few moves out of the way here so that we can get over to the arena and get working on the arenas. We already do have the low level arena pretty much knocked out, and we're just gonna jump right into the 6-star arena tonight. That way we can feature off some of the bigger champions on the main account here. We may one weekend go ahead and do some arena on the backup account, the little account, just so that we can feature some of those champions a little more too. I think we'll go ahead and take Hulk out here real quick, and then we'll move on to the arenas like planned. Okay, so hit the button a little too quickly there. But I guess we're a little low on charges on Miss Marvel anyway, so let's go ahead and see if we can't keep from messing this up well enough to go ahead and get those charges going. I want to welcome everybody. Also, I want to thank everybody too. You'll probably hear me do it a few times tonight, just because I am really excited for how many people we've had joining the channel lately. How many of you guys have been showing so much support, and I just really want to tell everybody thank you. I appreciate it overwhelmingly. Okay, so we're going to stop playing badly real quick, and remember that we don't suck at this game, because it's going to make a really bad live stream if this is how we're going to play all night long. I guess that's part of the reason why I make sure we do arenas most of the time, because I can recover from a mess up a little easier in arenas. But that's okay, guys. It's it's early. We're just getting into the evening. It's been a long week. It's time to do some arenas and relax and remember where we really are on things. Get things going the way that we know that they can be. So, like I said, we're going to go ahead and jump right over into the Crystal Trove here. Right off the bat here, we're going to bring in the star team. This is my primary 3 for my questing team. They're also pretty much my go-to for Alliance Quest as well. So these are the ones that I probably use more often than just about anybody at this point. Though I do have quite a few champions that I know a lot of people are amazed that I have. It has been one of those things that has been pretty standard in my time over this game. Um, I have typically on more occasions than not had uh, better luck with my pulls than I do with my skill level. Um, Really, definitely one of those things that I don't know if I should be proud of or slightly ashamed of, because I have been great at doing fairly high level pulls for years. And I know a lot of people in the community that if they had the account I have on here, um, would be a lot further along with very little effort. Um, it's been something that's been asked on several occasions. How do I have such a good roster? Um, Obviously, I do spend money on the game. I've never denied that whatsoever. Not to any of my alliance mates, not to anyone I've ever showed how the things that I do in the game, and definitely not to our community here. I'm by no means a free to play player. Um, how much I have spent over the years has varied repeatedly. It depends on where I was in life. If things were going well and I had the extra to spend, especially for 4th of July or Cyber Weekend, um, yeah, I've not hesitated about doing so. But if things were a little tight on the budget, the spending on the game ceased. Um, and especially this last year before I started the channel, um, I, the most I spent was my sigil once a month, and even with it, there were a couple months I didn't even bother to get my sigil. But I was semi-retired from the game at that point in time because I was focusing on some rather big things I was attempting to do in life. Not just for myself, but for my community. Um, I actually was looking to make some major changes for my entire state, because I saw some things that were going a little sideways, and some that were going just completely backwards. And I wanted to try and address that. So I took a moment. I stepped away from my alliance. I stepped away from the game outside of just logging in at least once a day to collect my calendar stuff and maybe spend 15-20 minutes working on something. If I had a couple hours of free time and could actually spend more than that, I was more than willing to do so. But it was definitely one of those things where I knew my time was going to be so limited that I could not give my all to my alliance. And, it's definitely one of those things that I'm coming back from at this point. I have a completely different alliance right now. A few of the old guys have come over and are riding it out with me again. But it's definitely one of those things that we're going through the growing pains all over again. Um, this week alone, I know that I will have to, as soon as Alliance Quest is over tomorrow, I'll have to go through the different days of Alliance Quest and figure out who wasn't doing what they were supposed to be doing. One of the unfortunate things about being an alliance leader is having to, go in and constantly make sure that everybody's pulling their weight, not just for themselves. Um, I'm by far nowhere near as intense as I know some alliance leaders are. I'm not. I don't tell you who you have to rank up. I don't tell you what content you need to work on. Um, Pretty much the only thing I ask for is that people are active in Alliance Quest and that they communicate. As long as you let me know what's going on, uh, if you're not going to be able to be active, I'll let you continue to ride with us for as long as I know what's going on and as long as it doesn't hurt the majority of the members of the Alliance, which is always a risk that you have to take into consideration when you are running an alliance. You want to be fair to the individual, but you also want to make sure that no one individual is writing it out for free while everybody else is putting in all the work. I've said it before, in a lot of aspects of life, that a lot of people don't necessarily look at as skill building. Um, Being an alliance leader, running a D&D campaign, there's a lot of different things out there that you can do that actually apply to business. They apply to job skills. I mean, managing 30 different people on a team, well, 30 counting yourself, unless you're running multiple people that are running multiple accounts. Obviously this alliance that I'm currently running at the moment has 2 accounts in it that are my own. There's still 29 people in here that I'm trying to get at least semi on the same page. But that's something that, like, I think needs to be talked about. I even saw Rich the Man talking about today in a video that he released how his alliance is gonna deprioritize Alliance Quest and Alliance War and be more battlegrounds focused, which I think is very viable these days. It's a different game mode that for an alliance actually long term can pay off well. I see a lot of upside potential to it if you had 30 members who were all qualified to do battlegrounds and were all focused on doing that on their roster. Now, that being said, a battlegrounds alliance is more roster intense than even an Alliance Quest and Alliance War focused alliance. Because if you are just looking at Alliance Quest and Alliance War being the main focus of your alliance, then you are talking about the idea that you need 6 attackers, 3 for war and 3 for quest, 5 defenders, and then 5 champions that you can count on to be your backup questing team for yourself personally. And even that, those extra 5 you don't necessarily have to do, because if you decide that when you're in Alliance Quest and Alliance War at the same time, you just turn around and do arena or you do low level content so you don't necessarily need another set of level up champions. You're still looking at a minimum of 11 and a maximum of 16 champions that you need leveled up to your requirements. 16 champions compared to needing 30. And even at that, I mean, especially we've already seen it in these first 5 seasons. And when season 6 starts, we'll talk about it further. Even if you have your top 30 champions maxed out, the seasons, the way they've changed so far, you may need some champions that are not available in your top 30. You may need a deeper roster pool. It could be 60 to 80 champions that you need so that you can rotate seasons. So I do think there is value in going to a Battlegrounds focused alliance. But that being said, I also do think that may honestly be almost more intense and more member required than trying to do a gold or platinum war alliance, which I know very good and well that I have no intentions of ever being in a platinum alliance. Not because of the fact that I don't want to see those kind of rewards, because obviously I do. I don't know who wouldn't want the rewards from Platinum 1 Alliance for War Season. But the intensity level and the margin of error on an alliance that's that intense is so little. I know even being Silver 1, Silver 2, or Gold 3, the difference between that can literally be 2 or 3 wars. You know, it's how many did you win, how many did you lose. And I mean that's asking a lot out of your members. That is not what we were going for there. Gonna play around. Hey, it's nighttime. Let's have a party, guys. Sunday night arenas. Let's get it. Let me know if it's a little too much, guys. I'm just having some fun with some of the new equipment and stuff. I want to kind of celebrate our Sunday night arena with a little bit of effects lighting there. But if it gets too intense, feel free to say something in the comments. We'll switch it back into some normal lighting. But I thought it'd be a little bit of fun for this. Always looking to jazz things up a little bit. So let me know what you guys think. We got a big crystal opening that the video for that's going to be coming out tomorrow. It is, oh my god, guys, I'm still excited for how well that crystal opening went, let alone how much I can't wait for you guys to experience it. I haven't worked with Hulk since the new buff went live. I am really behind on him, and I need to see what this is. Nice. Oh, yeah, we are definitely going to have to play with Hulk some more. I knew some guys back in one of my first alliances that I ever led that were just absolutely in love with the original Hulk, build, and he did work for them overwhelmingly, round after round of Alliance Quest, and they were high up on him. But I know as Gladiator Hulk came out, and then Immortal Hulk and Overseer, there he kind of slipped to the wayside, and I understand why he needed a rework. I definitely do. This one, well, I may have slipped up on this one, guys. Yep, that's what I thought. I thought he had me on that one. But yeah, that rework, it was long overdue, and there's quite a few champions out there that are definitely long overdue for the rework. Uh, I've talked about it before, but I think one of the things that is almost insulting is the fact that Kamala Khan is the champion for this month. Um, she, if any champion is in need of a rework, it has been her from the get go. Her, Groot. Uh, God, there's so many meme tier champions that they just have. Kabam has just never bothered to look at the fact that they just don't perform. I think that's one of the interesting things about what Kabam has done these last couple years. What's going on here? Oh, we're loading. Um, is with the new champions as they come out, the whole concept that they'll review the champions a few months later. Let's see here. What's up with the loading? Not having signal issues, so it must be server issues. Give it a second here, guys. Let's see how if we can figure out what Kabam's having a problem with here, and we will continue on with the arena here. Let's see. Okay. Let's go ahead and try. Let's see. If we drop this down here, we're going to try closing out the game and reopening since we're having such loading issues. So give me just a second there. We're going to go ahead and go back in here. Oops. Okay, caught that a little sooner than what we wanted. But let's go ahead and see if we can get back into the game. Don't know. Okay, that's better. It looks like we just hit a small patch of hesitation there. So let's go ahead and get back into the arena here and keep going. Let's see here. Okay, we still got a little ways to go on this arena. We are using just the 6 stars at this point because the Crystal Trove arena here, this is the only one of the 3 that we can use the 6 stars in. So I want to make sure we're using them where we can. Okay. Let's go ahead and see how Loki can handle Ghost here. I've got so many really good matchups that As a matter of fact, I've been meaning to get some gameplay recorded because I've had some great showings as of late where I have used Loki to just absolutely own Hulkling. And I think that's something that a lot of people need to see. Um, I'm gonna find some time where I get put up against him in some more intense matches and see if we can't get some game footage out for that. Um, there's going to be quite a few different champions I want to feature some game footage for over the next couple months. Some of the ones that maybe have risen up in the rankings over the last couple years, but still are definitely considered underrated champions. So, okay. Well, obviously that one was an easy one. Got to get our multiplier back up there. Kind of slipped up on that one round. But then we had the server issues right after that, so I kind of, not to ever not take accountability for my gameplay by any means, but I kind of wonder if that was kind of where we had some of those input issues where I was trying to get a few things off, and it kind of instead ended up letting the game hand it to me. But we will see. Yeah. This is kind of one of those interesting matchups, anyways. Um, just because of the dynamic of Storm and Black Panther in the comic books, and then we're playing the P90X Storm versus Killmonger. You know, gotta wonder if there is, and it didn't mention out there where they are the Storm and Black Panther of their universe. But I also know that the Pyramid X version of Storm is a game exclusive version that was part of the cross promotion when we got Realm of Champions, which I never got around to playing. And actually, based off the fact that it didn't have nearly the longevity that we've gotten out of Contest of Champions, I'm guessing there wasn't a lot of us in the community that got out there and played it either. So, but definitely still, it would have been kind of nice if there would have been a bit more crossover between them. Not just a couple champions, but maybe even something where there was a bit more reason to play both games. I know personally myself, and from what I talked to a fairly decent amount of people at the same time, a lot of us just, we'd put so much into our rosters to even be talking about jumping to a whole new game. Just that put a lot of it didn't put a great taste in a lot of people's mouths. Um, and I wonder if there hadn't been maybe something where your progression level in Contest of Champions helped you translate over to Realm of Champions, if Realm of Champions wouldn't have taken off a little bit better. I mean, not that I think it should have been a day one, here's your entire roster. But at the same time, hey, if I could have gotten some decent level champions or some free rank up materials or whatever, again, I never played that game, so I I never really had intention to play that game. Thought about playing it for quite a while. Um, but just never did. It just wasn't a priority. I Contest of Champions has really been my go-to game for almost 7 years now, and rightfully so. I mean, as many problems as Kabam has with not always paying attention to what's best for the community or what the community wants. How often it is that if there's a pro player glitch, it gets fixed instantly. If there's a pro Kabam glitch, we'll talk about it 6 months to a year from now. And I do mean talk about it, because we're definitely not going to be jumping on top of fixing it. As often as they have made changes that isn't huge for the community, I still think that Kabam and especially with Contest of Champions has done quite a bit right. I know, like I said, nearly 7 years of playing this game. And I am quite well happy with what I put into it. Not just as a game, not just as time-wise, but at the same time, like the amount of people that I've been able to meet over the years, the opportunities to make friendships and be part of a community, the opportunity to have some nostalgia towards my childhood. I grew up on the 90s X-Men series. And God, can I not wait for that to come back here on Disney Plus soon. Grew up reading X-Men comics, and I remember going through the first Infinity War saga, going through some intense different time periods, owning some absolutely killer comic books, and then even as my son was going through his childhood, getting to show him comics and comic games and shows, and then the MCU taking off, and there's been so many things that that this game has given me an opportunity to relive, and bring a lot of the things I grew up on and things that excited me and the things that I was so attached to back into my life. I've said it a lot over the last few years. I don't think there has been a better time in history to be a nerd than these last 20 years or so. The things that at one point in time you may have been made fun of to be interested in are now very mainstream parts of life. I look back at some of the Marvel Comics properties, that I watched when I was young. The Dolph Lundgren Punisher, or even worse than the David Hasselhoff Nick Fury. um, there's uh, some of that stuff, and then when Blade came out and was such a hit, but so few people knew that it was a comic book. While I'm sitting there going, yeah, but no, that he's in Spider-Man, man. Like literally, Spider-Man. That's where he starts. And and people were, no, 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 it's just a vampire movie. And so, like, you got to the second one, and it became more well known that it was actually a comic book movie. And then I remember when they announced Hugh Jackman was going to be Wolverine. And I was like, first off, who is Hugh Jackman? Because I'd never heard of him. And then I started looking him up, and it's this guy who's done a bunch of musicals, and he's 6'4", and I'm going, no, no, this is not, no, this is not my favorite all-time comic book character by all times. This is not the guy I want to see. And then he played Wolverine. And then he became Wolverine. And I am so excited for the next Deadpool movie because, to be honest with you, the thought that Hugh Jackman would never play Wolverine again was really depressing. But to know that at minimum he's coming back for at least one more, just to watch that 20-some year progress from I cannot believe this is the guy that's going to play my favorite comic book character of all times to, oh my God, this is, I get one more time of him playing my favorite comic book character of all times. It's just something intense, guys. Like I love this time period of history. I really do. It has been so amazing to see it all and watch this journey and know that the things that I always understood were cool are starting to become cool to everybody. It's a different world, man. It really is. Um, I don't know how everybody else out there feels about it. Um, Sorry, guys, had to get a little drink there. Not a paid sponsor. God, I wish they were. But, anyways, like I said, I mean, let me know. Throw something in the comments. What was your first experience with a quote-unquote Marvel movie? Was it the MCU? Was it the first Iron Man? Was it Ang Lee's Hulk? Are you like me? Did you even know that David Hasselhoff played Nick Fury? Wow. I mean, just thinking about some of that stuff. Uh, thinking about the early Punisher movies. Uh, uh, it's been an interesting ride being a comic book fan. It was one of those things. I didn't have the greatest of childhoods by any means, but I had comic books. I had Spider-Man the animated series. I had Batman the animated series. I had the 90s X-Men, like I said. These were things that were massively important to my childhood and that I love having access. There are so many characters that are in this game that did not exist in my childhood. One of them very clearly that's a great example is right now, using anti-venom here. Um, I loved Venom. It was a great storyline. Um, it was even weirder when I found out about the whole Flash Thompson Agent Venom thing. I always thought Eddie Brock as Venom was definitely where a lot of really good conflict for Peter Parker was. And you know, a lot of people will say that Green Goblin is his bigger antagonist. Um, but that relationship between Eddie Brock and Peter Parker is definitely one that when they do decide to work things out between Disney, Marvel, and Sony, and actually do more than just a cameo at the end, I am looking forward to. As much as I like Topher Grace and think he was wonderful in certain projects, that '70s show in particularly, um, I do think Tom Hardy is definitely by far a better Eddie Brock. Um, and I even if it's not Tom Holland, though I would like to see it be Tom Holland. I think he's done great in the Spider-Man role since bringing him into the MCU and everything. Uh, I definitely want to see another Spider-Man Venom combo on screen. Um, it doesn't have to be my. It's definitely not my most longed after thing to see on the screen. There's definitely some things that I'm looking forward to. Um, Slight spoiler warning if you haven't seen it. Uh, Seeing Pip the Troll show up at the end of uh, the Eternals in the post-credit scene was absolutely lovely. I had been waiting on him for far too long. I That was another one of those things that when they did Guardians of the Galaxy and we got Drax and we got Gamora, um, I was waiting on Adam Warlock and Pip the Troll and Mantis and most importantly Moondragon for so long. And the fact that that we finally got Pip the Troll and that we have gotten already Adam Warlock will be in Guardians 3. Um, I'm still waiting on Moondragon. I do want to see the Infinity Watch. I don't know if we're going to get it because I know there's been some back and forth with Dave Bautista on whether or not he'll be continuing on with the Drax role. I know that there was a point that it sounded like he was completely out. And that would have been a little sad, to be truthful with you. Um, I definitely don't want to see him leave that role any more than I want to see some of the others leave their roles. I think that's one of the things that I think amongst the many different things I've seen Marvel do well comparatively to what DC has tried to do. Now, giving credit to DC, I will tell you their TV universe, especially initially before Disney Plus came around, I think was definitely stronger than anything that Marvel was putting out as far as their TV universe originally. That being said, I do think that Marvel has done an amazing job on casting over the years. I'm probably going to eat it on this one, but it's worth trying it anyways. We've already won the round. Yeah, that's what I thought. You know, you look at some of the people that Marvel has brought into the MCU. Uh, outside of Hugh Jackman, who obviously is just now finally going to officially be part of the MCU with the newest Deadpool movie, which was a great casting by Fox originally. Um, you look at Robert Downey Jr. And honestly, especially if you look at his life even before becoming Tony Stark in the MCU and obviously Iron Man, um, he mirrors Tony Stark really well in real life. He's went through some similar issues as what Tony Stark went through in the comic books. Uh, if you look at Benedict Cumberbatch, I think again, absolutely amazing casting as far as if you look at Stephen Strange in the comic books and you look at Benedict Cumberbatch in his appearance. Like, I. Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow. Paul Rudd as Scott Lang. There, it just goes on and on. There's so many things that they have done so right in casting, in my opinion. And I'm excited to see where they continue on. Obviously, there's been more than a few hiccups over these last 20 plus years. We all know the Terrence Howard switch to Don Cheadle. Obviously, there was the Edward Norton issue where we ended up getting Mark Ruffalo, who, I mean, he definitely does a great playful side to Hulk, which I think is important. Because I think far too often do we forget that there is a playful Bruce Banner side to Hulk. And I think Mark Ruffalo is really good about that. But there, like I said, over the years, there's been a few different calls that I've questioned that have worked out really well. And I've come to the point where I try not to question the MCU too much. At least not before I actually watch it. There is one that I'm really excited to see here soon. And I cannot wait to see when we finally get Kit Harington to do the Black Knight. I think that one is going to be another one that, though the Black Knight is not necessarily a popular Marvel character by any means, not that some of the people that we consider massively popular now were really popular when they were selected to be MCU characters. Black Knight, I think, is probably a little more obscure than a lot of the ones that we've seen. But I still want to see how that one goes. I really do. Okay, and that right there is why every week when we do the crystal opening, I keep saying I want Warlock. Because I want Warlock. He is absolutely sick. He's another one that for many, many years I got to watch some cool cartoons and read some great comic books with him in. And it's a character that before I understood that he was actually as good as he is in the game, I was still quite excited to just have him be coming in because of the fact of some cartoons and some comic books I'd read with him in it. Um, there is it's like a 4 or 5 part episode in the original '90s X-Men series that Warlock is part of. Uh, it's the Felix saga. Uh, Warlock and Beast are pretty much your primary parts of it. Um, there's a entire invasion that's happening that they pretty much team up to stop and even work with Mr. Sinister to get stopped. Um, with the new X-Men 97 supposed to be coming sometime this year. If you haven't gone on Disney Plus and watched the 90s animated series, watch the original series itself, I highly recommend doing it. Not just because of the fact that, like I said, I'm being extremely nostalgic towards it, but go look up any list of animated comic series. As a matter of fact, let me rephrase that. Go look up any 10 lists, and you will see it time and time again. The top 2 are always the same. The only difference is which one is number 1 and which one is number 2. I have watched probably 20 to 25 different channels that reviewed animated comic book series. And no matter how many new series come out, no matter how much something like Young Justice does to be groundbreaking, no matter how many other good things come out, the Batman animated series from the 90s and the X-Men series from the 90s are always at the top of those lists. And rightfully so. You can call it nostalgia all you want to, but I 100% believe that the people that were behind those series, the voice actors, the animators, even the companies that were behind them, did things that no other series to this date has ever been able to touch. And there's a lot of really good comic book animated series out there. Like I said, Young Justice, I think, especially once they brought it back on HBO, has been phenomenal. I think that Batman Beyond was a great series. And I've been screaming for years how much I would love to see them do a live action version of that, especially if they were to bring in Michael Keaton to play old Bruce Wayne, which obviously we're going to get that here in the Flashpoint movie. But, Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes. I think that was another great series. I'm trying to think of some of the ones that I've really truly liked over the years. The Spider-Man animated series, and even the Amazing Spider-Man. There's been Spider-Man Web Warriors. There's been a few different really good Spider-Man series over the years. There's been several Avengers series that I thought were really good. But yeah, nothing for me personally touches those two animated series with Batman and the X-Men animated series. So if you are a Marvel fan beyond just the MCU, or just MCOC, um, go check out some of the animated series that are on Disney Plus, especially the X-Men animated series. Um, and actually, that makes me think about two other series that I can't believe I was leaving out that I think are absolutely wonderful, but still not as good as the 90s X-Men, and that is X-Men Evolution and Wolverine and the X-Men. Those two I also thought were done really well, um, and absolutely loved them. Just loved them. Those are actually both on Disney Plus too. If you haven't seen them, worth checking them out. I One of the great things about having Disney Plus, in my opinion, is being able to go back and watch something. Not only being able to see the new stuff, right after it's been out for a little while, to go revisit it, because one viewing of any any of these series or any of these MCU movies is never enough, especially not to catch everything that goes on in them. But even with one viewing not being enough, uh, to be able to get some of that nostalgia and go back and check out some of that, X-23, great example there. We wouldn't even have her if it wasn't for X-Men Evolution. She was actually a character originally created for that series. Um, but, I talked about the Batman animated series. Uh, for those who don't know, Harley Quinn would not exist without that cartoon. And I know she's, I mean, HBO gave her her own animated series alone. Um, I mean, we had the Birds of Prey movie, which was basically Harley Quinn's movie. There's been quite a bit on a character that, if it hadn't been for the animation, they would have never even made it into the comics. So sometimes the animated universes can be just as important as the comic books themselves. Um, it's I love that type of stuff. I really do. I just think about, as well. There's always the debate over who the best Batman has been. And I'll tell you, live action, personally, Michael Keaton is still my favorite. I know quite a few people that, Kirsten Bale has definitely moved up in most people's rankings. I don't think anybody is necessarily voting for Val Kilmer or George Clooney, but if you want the definitive Batman, Kevin Conroy. And at the exact same time, too, Mark Hamill voicing the Joker. Definitive Joker. And that is, you can quote me on that one. You can take that to the bank right there. He is. That's the twisted Joker of all of them, and I love it. And I'm a huge fan of what Heath Ledger did with the Joker. I'll quote Jack Nicholson to you all day long, but this is why, like I said, I give a lot of credit to the animated stuff, and I think it's worth making sure, if you haven't checked it out, if you haven't gone to that level of nerdom, do it. It's worth it. If you are on that level of nerdom, do it again, because it's worth it. So, grab another drink here real quick, guys. careful a little bit there. Always try and keep the food and drink away from the equipment here. Don't want to have any kind of accidents. Not that we aren't careful as can be, but we don't risk the setup. So, Toad, let me know in the comments, guys. What do you guys think of Toad? Personally, he is a mixed bag for me. Kind of a pain to fight. And a bit more so than I think he really should be. You know, Toad is not the definitive character that I would expect to have a hard time fighting. There are definitely members of the Brotherhood, especially some that we have not even gotten to yet. Kind of surprised to this point that we still don't have Blob in the game. But yeah, I think Toad, I think when they made his kit, they didn't necessarily take into consideration who the actual character is. Or at least that's kind of my opinion on that one. So, well, guys, we just crossed the hour mark. We've been doing the Crystal Trove Arena the entire time, and we have 1.6 million already put up. That does guarantee us that we are looking at the rank rewards there. Probably going to go ahead and hit this 2 million mark, and then if nobody decides they're interested in joining for some incursions, I might go see if anyone's is online in my alliance. Maybe see if I can't do some that way, just to kind of get some on the channel tonight. If not, I think we'll go ahead and just do the 5-star arena for probably about 20-30 minutes more. Kind of get a few of the milestones on it knocked out. We only have to hit that 350 marker on it to get the rank rewards on it. And with the 5-star roster that I have at this point, that really is not an extensive fight for me, but we'll have to kind of play it by ear and see, you know, who all we have in chat by that point, see where we go. We are going to be doing these Sunday night lives on a very regular basis from now on. As a matter of fact, I think Sunday evenings we are going to do a live every week. I'm going to plan that Wednesday afternoons we're going to be doing lives, and I'm trying to plan at least one other day a week that we do lives, and we may try and step it up. I'm thinking evenings are not always the easiest time for me to do things outside the Sunday evening arena. My full-time job, I work primarily nights. So, okay, I work exclusively nights because it's the best time period to work, at least for what I do. And I've done some early afternoons over the last year or so, but we're done with that going forward. So the evenings are gonna be out of the question for me for the most part for a little while. Uh, but the afternoons, obviously, I got to make sure we got time to get videos edited and recorded for different content that we're trying to make sure that we get out there. We want to get Act 6 completely knocked out, get the Thronebreaker series out so that we can get over onto the backup account and get the Cavalier series knocked out, which I realize kind of, it makes a lot of sense that we're going uncollected Thronebreaker, Cavalier, Paragon, but, you know, it's kind of where the progression is on the different accounts. So I figure we do one progression on one account, do one progression on the other account, and back and forth. Uh, so we'll have all 4 progression title levels, or at least the main 4 progression titles until Kabam decides that we need a 5th, or I don't even know what it would count as at this point because I forget. Let's see, it's proven. I think we're up to 7 now, 8. Whatever Kabam decides to add on next, we always know there's something more coming. But like I said, we're going to get those series out there. At least the current last 4 titles we will have out before the end of this year. I'm planning right now, and let's rephrase that. I'm not hoping anything. I have control of all of this, and we're gonna make it work. Progression-wise, what I'm looking at is by 4th of July weekend, we will be at least Thronebreaker on the main account, obviously, because we're pushing that right now. And I'm thinking probably Cavalier on the backup account. That way we can look at better deals for that weekend. But I'm also thinking by that point, honestly, I hate to say it, but by the time we get to 4th of July this year, Cavalier may truly be the new uncollected. It may be the bare minimum you need to be at to even get the low level, get anything above barely even getting a deal. It's a little harsh, but I think that's the way things are going in the game. We've seen it for a few years now. When Thronebreaker came out, you started to happen to get, Unccollected became more important. When Paragon came out, Unccollected became barely important, but it was definitely important. And now we're starting to see Cavalier starting to drop off and becoming even more so to the point where you need to be looking at pushing towards being at least Cavalier, if not Thronebreaker. Now, that being said, when I say that, I say if you're particularly trying to make sure that you're getting certain deals and everything, you want to be at those progression levels. But in all honesty, guys, don't let the community, don't let YouTubers, don't let anyone decide what pace you need to take this game at. Sorry, getting a little finger stress there, so just wanted to loosen them up a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I don't care if it's in the game, I don't care if it's in your schooling, I don't care if it's in life. Don't let anybody tell you that you have to compete with anybody else, that you have to be where somebody else is, that you have to do as well as somebody else. The only thing you need to do is try and improve upon yourself. Okay? If every single day you do something to improve yourself 1%, you are always going to be a better version of you. And that's an amazing accomplishment. There are a lot of people out there who never try to improve themselves. And I don't want you guys getting caught up, no matter if you see me or if you see any of the other YouTubers, KT1, Karate Mike, Prof Hoff, Legacy, Seaton, Rich the Man. I don't care who you're watching, what they're getting to, what they're accomplishing in this game. Never feel like that you aren't doing enough just because you're not doing what they're doing. Never feel like you're not doing enough just because you're not where I am. No matter if you're talking my main account or any other account. Progress in this game as you feel like it. Okay? This game, if you're in an alliance where people are telling you who you have to rank up, telling you what content you need to play, and you're always struggling, you're not always ranking up the champions that you enjoy. Instead, you're ranking up champions that you can't even use just because your alliance leader is telling you that's who you have to rank up. I mean, like I said earlier, that's why I will never attempt to be a Platinum 1 alliance. Because I'm not going to take the time to do... I'm not going to level up Silver Surfer just because that's the highest prestige champion. And I know he's not anymore, but I know there was a point in time where everybody at the top had a fully ranked up, or as ranked up as you could get, Silver Surfer, because that's who... Are we going to do this all over again? Okay, there we go. I was afraid we were going to freeze again. Yeah, I mean, do you know how many times people told me that I was wasting my time ranking up Loki? Before a bunch of YouTubers came out and said, hey, against the Grandmaster, Loki can actually be fairly useful. And then all of a sudden Loki was worthwhile. But I ranked him up for two reasons. Number one, he was the first 5-star that I got that I could use. Number two, he was the first 5-star that I got that I awakened naturally. And it wasn't even just that I awakened him. I think I pulled him like 4 times. I either had him to Sig 60 or Sig 80 when I really started using him hardcore and really pushed his rank up and stuff. I used him for so long, and that was even before I understood the benefit of the Heimdall synergy with him. Once I got that synergy going, especially after I pulled Corvus and got him awakened and started pushing him up, oh, guys, like, yeah, I just laughed at all the people that told me I should have, that I was wasting my resources ranking up Loki. Hawkeye, Luke Cage, these were other champions that if I was in an alliance where I was allowing someone to tell me who I had to rank up, would have never gotten ranked up. But I don't know how much content I got through because of Hawkeye's power control and the amount of bleed that he has. I don't know how much content I got through because, or how many potions I saved because I was able to bring Luke Cage in knowing that that first few hits, he was going to be indestructible, and I can go in there and just finish somebody off even when he was almost dead. Because either I was going to hit you right off the bat or I was going to go indestructible. And so it bought me a little extra time, a little bit of extra, ability to do things that I wasn't doing otherwise. Um, so I think hey, Jay Wars, I apologize. I didn't see your comment come in. Yeah, that Topher Grace, that 70s show. Yeah, he played Venom in one of the original first three Spider-Man movies. You know, uh, sorry to kind of circle back on you guys there. And unfortunately, I apologize. I think Jay Wars popped out on me already, but yeah, I let that comment slip, and I apologize, guys. I really do. I try and make sure I'm paying attention to the comments the whole time. I just missed that one, and I want to apologize to him particularly and say thank you for stopping into the stream for a little bit and apologize that I missed you. I hope if you catch this on the playback that you go ahead and leave another comment for me, and I'll reach out to you and make it up to you, man. I appreciate you stopping in. I really do. So we are here with the Wongers, and I hear that if we're not careful, especially on a Sunday night, we might interrupt his finally getting around to watching The Sopranos. He's got that drinking buddy of his and a good episode of The Sopranos, and we can, if he's not off busting Abomination out of jail, maybe he can do a little bit of work for us like he did there. Let's see if we can't go ahead and get Cap through Luke Cage here. Obviously, Unawakened, that's a lot easier to do because he doesn't have the indestructible. But Awakened, Luke Cage is a potion saver. So, for Red Star 62 here, if you happen to see this and you get a chance to awaken Luke Cage, at that point he is definitely worth the power up. Let's try. Oh, yeah, we're gonna take a special 3 to the face here. Told you. Yeah, that one hurt a little bit, but that's okay. Oh, yeah, couldn't recover on that one fast enough. That was my fault. We should have got the decks in there a little better. But hey, 2 out of 3. We've almost got that 2 million mark. We're going to go ahead and knock that out. I appreciate everybody that's in the chat right now and everybody that's joined us for the live stream. I know we've had a few people pop in, a few people pop back out. Thank you to each and every one of you for joining in tonight while we play a little arena. As I've said, If anyone pops in and wants to talk about doing some incursions, obviously we do have the side quest for this month is all around incursions. So we're gonna try and do a couple live streams over the next few weeks, uh, just to make some time available to do some incursions with the community. Uh, I know right at the moment, unfortunately, top of my roster is out because I did about 2 hours of incursions with a friend last night and knocked out certain milestones. Um, but what I, like I said, I still want to make that available as something we can do with the community here. Um, so we are pushing the hour and a half mark here. We've been live for an hour and 20 minutes at this point. And we put up 2 million, well, just shy of 2 million. I think with this one right here, especially if we can take Symbiote Supreme with Night Thrasher here, which we just did, I think that's going to secure the 2 million mark here. And I know we talked about doing some incursions, and maybe even getting to the 5-star arena, but yeah, I think we may save that for this week. Like I said, I know it's a month-long event. They're gonna rotate through all month long, 1 week at a time, but it's all gonna be around incursions this month. So maybe we can get a few more live. Well, there's no maybe to it. We're gonna get quite a few more live streams going here this month, and when we do, I think we'll go ahead and get at least 2 days a week where I'm available to do incursions with anybody who's interested. So, let's see where that puts us at for points. If it puts us over, yep, that, like I said, I thought that was going to put us over the 2 million mark for sure. I think that's where we're going to tie it up, guys, for tonight. I want to get some other things done. There's a few more things I want to look at for progressing so that we can get some more videos out this week. I know there's a few things that I've got a few people in the community that are really looking forward to, and I want to make sure that I get those out there for you guys, because as much as I enjoy doing this channel, and as much as I love talking to you guys, as much as I love getting to know you guys, as much as I enjoy being able to spend the money on the game for the channel, I want to do what is going to make you guys the happiest. And I know that Thronebreaker series is something that's been being called for pretty much since I started announcing it. And we got the first video out, so I want to make sure that we get at least a couple more out this week and get most of 6.2, if not all of 6.2 done before the end of the month. I want to get started on 6.3 before April 1st. We are going to get Thronebreaker. We are going to get that title. We are going to get, we're already set. I've already got the champions in place. I've already got enough champions leveled up to be able to do it. So I want to thank everybody that has stopped in for the stream tonight, and I'm going to go ahead and head over and start doing some recordings so that I can get those levels out to you guys, and we can get that new content out. And make sure you guys check in tomorrow. We're going to have the crystal opening I did today live. We'll have that video out live tomorrow. It's a banger, man. It's absolutely amazing. I can't even believe some of the luck I had in that one, to be truthful with you. So make sure you check that one out. Leave me a comment in the comments. Shove a like over to me, and if you guys haven't subscribed yet, I would absolutely appreciate it if you would. I thank you guys for taking the time to join me tonight, and we will be live a couple more times this week in the afternoon, and I will see you back next Sunday night for some more arena. And we'll see you guys in another video very soon. Peace out, everybody.